You campaigned on reducing legal immigration. I remember your speech in Phoenix in 2016 on reducing legal immigration.
No, I campaigned on legal and illegal, but no, I've always said you have to come into the country legally, so not legal. What I campaigned on was people just flooding our border and stopping. And by the way, speaking of that, we have 170 miles, almost 170 miles of very powerful border wall up, and it's moving rapidly, very quickly, and it's having a tremendous impact, and it's making our job a lot easier. Plus, Mexico has 27,000 soldiers right now on our southern border that we share with them. And Mexico's been terrific. They've really helped.
You also campaigned on reducing legal immigration, and I'm wondering if some critics are saying that you are using the virus now in this crisis to follow through on that promise to reduce legal immigration.
No. Well, I want people that are in this country, I want our citizens to get jobs. I don't want them to have competition. We have a very unusual situation where something came in that nobody has seen for many, many decades. Probably 1917 would be the closest analogy if you look at it, when you look at the contagion, the kind of contagion we're talking about. So no, I'm not doing that at all. I want the American worker and our American citizens to be able to get jobs. I don't want them to compete right now. There's a big difference when we have a full economy, and frankly where some of the companies, we have many companies moving in where they need workers. That's a big difference between that and where all of a sudden a lot of people lose jobs.
As you know, a lot of farmers rely on seasonal migrant workers that come in on the
affected. The farmers will not be. That's an important point. The farmers will not be affected. Yeah, that's a very important point. I mean, it's a great point, actually. I'm glad you brought it up. No, the farmers will not be affected. They've had cases where they stopped everybody from coming in, and all the farmers went out of business. They were literally out of business. You remember that, Brett? It was not so long ago. But it's easy. It's easier to stop everything cold than it is to plan it so that the farmers have the people that have been working on those farms for many years, and that's what we're doing. No, the farmers will not be affected by this at all. If anything, we're going to make it easier, and we're doing a process that will make it better for those workers to come in, to go to the farm where they've been for a long time.
Now, for a question from a reporter who's out of the room, this is from the Washington Times, Tom Howell. Why hasn't the
Ipsos USA Today poll just came out and found 80% of Americans are supportive of the immigration halt, the temporary freeze.
Yes, I know that.
Did that have any? Did public support have any effect on your decision making here? And are you surprised by those numbers?
Yeah, it's a high number. I did not see that number. I heard there was a poll. I'm sure there'll be a lot of polls. No, look, I think the American people want to make sure that they have jobs for the American people, not for people that come in many cases illegally into our country. So we're doing that. I don't know what the numbers are, but I think just common sense tells you that's where we should be, and that's where the American people want to be. And we're going to build our country back. And I'm telling you, with all of the things that we're doing and infrastructure, which we desperately need, it's going to be an incredible thing taking place. I think it's going to be a renaissance. We're going to have something that will be, a lot of people are going to go to work building those roads and bridges and tunnels and highways and all of the other things we're going to be building. And broadband for the Middle West. I mean, the farmers haven't been treated fairly. Let's face it, the farmers have been treated terribly when it comes to the Internet, so we're going to take care of that. The enemy has inflicted a steep toll on the American workforce. As we all know, millions of Americans sacrificed their jobs in order to battle the virus and save the lives of our fellow citizens. We have a solemn duty to ensure these unemployed Americans regain their jobs and their livelihoods. Therefore, in order to protect American workers, I will be issuing a temporary suspension of immigration into the United States. You heard about that last night. By pausing immigration, we'll help put unemployed Americans first in line for jobs as America reopens. So important. It would be wrong and unjust for Americans laid off by the virus to be replaced with new immigrant labor flown in from abroad. We must first take care of the American worker, take care of the American worker. This pause will be in effect for 60 days, after which the need for any extension or modification will be evaluated by myself and a group of people based on economic conditions at the time. This order will only apply to individuals seeking a permanent residency. In other words, those receiving green cards big factor, will not apply to those entering on a temporary basis. As we move forward, we'll examine what additional immigration-related measures should be put in place to protect U.S. workers. We want to protect our U.S. workers, and I think as we move forward, we will become more and more protective of them. This pause on new immigration will also help to conserve vital medical resources for American citizens. A short break from new immigration, depending on the time we're talking about, will protect the solvency of our healthcare system and provide relief to jobless Americans.